I'm Amanda Groves, Head of Product Marketing here at Crossbeam, and I am so thrilled to welcome you to the Connector Summit, our first ever customer event. Thank you so much for joining us here today. If you're familiar with our Supernode conference, you can think of Connector as a sister event to Supernode, maybe the little sister or the big sister, depending on how big we grow. While Supernode tends to address industry trends and thought leadership, here at Connector, we're going to leapfrog right over the academics and get straight to work today with practical plays from Crossbeam experts on how you and your entire go-to-market team can use Crossbeam every day. Now, because we love talking about partnerships here at Crossbeam, you'll notice each speaker will start their session with a must-have icebreaker question: who are your favorite partners? So in the spirit of Crossbeam, I'm going to share my favorite partners, which are Hoka's and Strava. As an average runner, I have to say, I can't leave my house without a pair of Hoka's and my Strava app synced and ready to track my running performance. What about you all? We would love to hear who your favorite partners are. Please pile on in the chat. All right, now let's get into what we'll be covering here today. The Connector Summit is purpose-built to help you get more value out of Crossbeam and answer that pesky what's next question to action those overlaps. You can expect 9 workshop-style sessions with everything from how to get your Crossbeam account up and running to how to surface ecosystem qualified leads and how to drive partner influence pipeline. Throughout each session, we'll share relevant resources with you that you can bookmark for later. And if and when inspiration strikes, you are welcomed and encouraged to take screenshots, share with your network, share on social media, but be sure to use the hashtag ConnectorSummit22. And don't worry, you'll be able to access the recordings from today's session on demand after the event. All right, so now let's officially kick off the summit with our keynote session, Your Ecosystem Maturity Journey. During this keynote, you'll hear from our VP of Partnerships, Chris Samila, and Head of Partnered, Adam Mihalski. During the session, we'll be covering the definition and levels of tech ecosystem maturity. We'll be sharing a big, new, exciting product announcement, and we'll be covering why ecosystem-led sales matters now more than ever before and how Crossbeam can help. Now, I'm joined by Chris Samila, our VP of Partnerships here at Crossbeam. Chris, thanks so much for being here.
Wonderful to be here. Thank you, Amanda. Super excited about the conversation today and to have the chance to participate in this amazing first Connector Summit.
Great. So before we dive into all things ecosystem maturity, Chris, we got to know, who are your favorite partners?
Yeah, so I thought a lot about this one kind of leading into the conversation. And I know we're talking a lot about innovations coming out of Crossbeam today and ecosystems. And I think actually one of the most inspiring partnerships I see out there, there's a company called the Ocean Cleanup. They are working on collecting, in essence, like millions and millions of tons of plastic out of this giant garbage patch we have floating in the Pacific Ocean, which is very distressing. But they're actually courting different partners to take this, in essence, trash and turn it into something of value. And that I think these types of partnerships where you have like entrepreneurial companies and nonprofits that are trying to find ways to make the world a better place, I think those are some of the most exciting brewing partnerships that I see out in the industry right now as things that are working in the kind of the clean tech world.
Thanks for sharing those partners, Chris. So inspiring. So on the topic of ecosystems, continuing that train of thought, let's define ecosystem maturity. Chris, what is ecosystem maturity and why does it matter?
Yeah, so this is Crossbeam's take on how do we actually assess and benchmark the efficacy of your technology partner program, which in many cases also involves integrations. So this maturity tells you what you're doing well today, what you could be doing, and really gives you kind of a roadmap on how do you mature your program so you can make the best impact on the business possible.
We've had over 600 partnership professionals participate in our tech ecosystem maturity diagnostic over the last year alone. Chris, can you talk through our approach to this diagnostic a little bit more?
Yes, this is a really exciting arc of work we took on, which was to in essence, help understand where these partner programs are at in their journey over time. And so we looked at things like the impact on churn from integrations. We looked at the availability of APIs so people could build integrations, whether they had a marketplace or a public directory for these partners and integrations. We looked at the KPIs of the organizations, partner tiers, a bunch of different characteristics in essence that could help us kind of measure where people are at on this journey. And then we took all those attributes and we dropped them into 4 distinct tiers of where someone's at in the maturity. The first level was Explorer, or level 1. And this is sort of like the foundational, like you have support to build something, but you lack really many processes or tooling to help support you. So this is the beginning of the journey, and there's a lot of excitement around it, and you're starting to build momentum towards actually maturing your program. And then in level 2, the producer, this is where you start to have manual processes being built out and attribution. You're starting to get some tooling in place, and you're starting to see the impact of integrations either helping on driving early momentum in your sales cycle or reducing churn characteristics for accounts that are using integrations. We jump up to level 3, connector. This is where you start to really get the tooling in place. You're using things like a partner ecosystem platform like a Crossbeam. You're building out scalable processes. You have more organization-wide support for what you're doing. And you're starting to take that partner data and feed it into other parts of the business, whether it's sales, marketing, or customer success. And then ultimately, we're excited for the companies that can get to that last level, which we call Supernode or level 4. This is where you really have automatic processes in place to really drive efficiency. You've got a humming organization, your attribution is rock solid, and you're really, that partner data is now fueling the growth for a lot of the teams around the partnerships organization. In many cases, this is still very aspirational for most of the people in the industry, because we are today still building out a lot of the tooling to let you do this. But there are so many activities happening right now where people are building sort of like the roadmap of all these processes. So again, this is also why it's a pretty exciting time to be in our industry.
Thanks so much for that breakdown, Chris. And we've heard that similar shared sentiment from our partnership professionals and customers. There's just so much excitement about the momentum we're seeing in the industry. Why do you think that is? Why is partnership so special right now?
Yeah, so I think this is a really interesting moment because in essence, partnerships is the last profession to get the focus and attention on the go-to-market team. If you think about sales and marketing, customer success, they've had literally the last 20 years of software development and process development to help them do their jobs better. And now with the advent, especially SaaS technology, the way that these solutions get to market has in essence opened up a bunch more surface area for partners to work with us to help us be successful. So if you think about historically, there's tons of amazing professionals that built channel partnerships at companies for the last few decades. But now we're in a world where the types of partners you work with are not just oriented around the transactional component of like actually selling the solution. So think of like resellers and distributors. We now have partners that are influencers. We have venture capital firms that are helping us. We have digital agencies and solutions engineers. We have all these different types of profiles of partners that should be working with us and influencing the sales opportunities and customer accounts, both during the sales process and after the sale is over. And so I think what's happening now is you're seeing this maturing of the industry where there's an acknowledgement of the value of why we should be doing those things with those partners. And then you're seeing technology, in essence, be created to support that motion. And this is where at Crossbeam today, this is where we're spending a ton of energy is how do we take that partner data that's unlocked through Crossbeam and help you bring that to other departments around the business to make your lives as partnership professionals way more efficient and ultimately the partner programs way more effective at your companies.
Thanks so much for that overview, Chris, and just a moment of appreciation for you. I know you've been doing a lot of this good work and partnership stewardship for the length of your career. So just thank you and appreciate you being here for this moment.
Yeah, I mean, this is such a fun time to be doing what we're doing. And so this is something that we're all collectively building together, both the professionals in our space, but also all the entrepreneurial companies that are building the tech to enable all of us. So today, I'm super pumped because we're going to get a chance to see all the latest things that Crossbeam has been building to make our lives as partnership professionals so much easier and ultimately create much more impact for our businesses. So have a wonderful time.
Thanks so much, Chris. Really excited to kick off the rest of the day. So you just got a closer look into tech ecosystems and hopefully have a better sense of where your organization sits on the maturity curve. If you are unsure, I really encourage you to take a look at the assessment that we've created. There was a link provided in the chat. So now I am joined by Adam Mahalski, head of Partnered, and so thrilled to have him here with us today. Welcome, Adam.
Thanks so much for having me today, Groves.
Of course, of course. All right, we're going to keep up with the partnerships theme. We love a theme here. Who, Adam, are your favorite partners that people must know?
Ooh, that's a great question. I would have to go with oil and vinegar. While some people might think that they don't mix, I'm a huge fan of salads, so I definitely use oil and vinegar more often than probably any other partners.
Great duo. We love the healthy choices, and I'm also a big fan. So solid partner duo there. We are so excited for this moment in particular during the Connector Summit. Here at Crossbeam, we truly believe ecosystem is everything. And it's not just everything to the partnerships team, right? It's everything to our marketing friends, our customer success team, our product team, and also the next big stop on the go-to-market team being sales. Ecosystem-led sales is the next big growth phase for mature and highly collaborative ecosystems. And that was a big reason why back in May, we acquired Partnered and brought in the wonderful team at Partnered like Adam and crew. And our teams have been working behind the scenes on something truly remarkable that we're excited to share with you all first here today. So everyone here on the line, we are thrilled to introduce you to Crossbeam's brand new product, Sales Edge.
Thanks so much, Groves. And we are extremely excited for this next era in Crossbeam. So I wanted to provide a little bit of color on what exactly is Sales Edge and where it kind of fits in. I think an easy way to kind of think about this is that if you think about Crossbeam as LinkedIn, where you can connect with your partners and share data amongst your partner network. The next phase of this is really kind of the equivalent of what you would call like LinkedIn Sales Navigator to LinkedIn, and that's what we're calling Crossbeam Sales Edge. It is live, available as of today, and anybody can access it who's either on the connector tier or the Supernode tier. And what it allows you to do is where Crossbeam was basically kind of built for the partner manager persona and the ability to basically share that data amongst organizations. Sales Edge is really taking that to the next level where you can take that data, make sure that you get it in front of your sales team who can ultimately action on it and turn that into partner source and partner influence revenue while helping them close their deals in a faster, more systematic way.
So I know this is something that our customers have been eager and hungry for a very long time. We're so excited for this moment. Would you be able to go just like one click deeper with a primer on ecosystem-led sales? As we take in this news, what does this mean for how companies think about sales?
Great question. So I think we're at an interesting point in time where how deals get done is kind of really changing. And I think anybody who's kind of on the front lines is definitely seeing this in their day to day. Generating sufficient pipeline is the number one challenge for sales teams. And cold outreach, where was extremely ineffective even pre-COVID, has become even more ineffective today. Now that this data set that exists across partnership organizations, you have kind of this interesting network that's being formed where salespeople can actually connect to share introductions, recommendations, and information on accounts, which could ultimately help them close their deals up to 50% faster with 200% larger deal sizes, and even 66% higher close rates. So a lot of this data has basically been unlocked because of Crossbeam. And sales leaders know that this is important. 85% of them believe that co-selling is a core sales skill set, but only about 50% of sales teams are actually efficient at co-selling. A lot of that is because the process today is just way too manual. It requires basically the partner manager to mine through all of this data, which at some companies could be, hundreds of partnerships, thousands of rows, if not millions of rows of data. Get that in front of the sales team, have their sales team, say that they want to connect with the partner, and then kind of have to be that liaison across teams. Incredibly manual process, which has kind of held this entire version of co-selling back.
That makes a lot of sense, Adam. Thank you so much. I know our sellers here have been in this position and they're eager to get into Sales Edge as well, just for the reasons you described. With that said, how does Sales Edge help reps build pipeline? Can you walk us through that?
100%. So this isn't the official term, but it's been called the coolest thing that's happened to co-selling. And the way that it operates is that with Crossbeam, you have all these like Crossbeam partner overlaps, which in Crossbeam Core, the Crossbeam that you know and love today, that was really the ability to kind of, share the data, create reports, and leverage it from a partner manager perspective. But salespeople are different. They live in their variety of tools, whether it be Salesforce, email, Slack, LinkedIn. These are the places where they live on a day-to-day basis. And if you're not interacting with them in those places, it's really, really tough to make sure that the information gets in front of them and something that they can actually action on. So that's really what Sales Edge does. It takes all of that Crossbeam data that you've effectively put together as the partnership team. Because we're connected with the CRM, we understand each salesperson's personal book of business, and we can cross-reference the two and push that data to them and those actionable insights to those places where they already live. So in Salesforce, via emails and weekly digests, directly in Slack whenever there's a new overlap that's relevant to them, or even in LinkedIn as they're actually prospecting and going through their day-to-day, we can actually just toss up an overlay that allows them to know that a partner is involved on that account, and when in one click actually get connected with that partner. Super cool, and I think it's really going to change the game for co-selling. All right, so let's jump into a live demo where I can show you exactly how Sales Edge operates. Like we discussed earlier, salespeople are busy, and one of the places that they're going to be for almost every single account is going to be LinkedIn. So now let's imagine I'm a salesperson who just got assigned a new account. It's called Apex Chat. If I go over here, one of the first things that I'm probably going to do is going to go scope it out to see who I should be speaking with at the company. So I'll make our way over to Apex Chat. And what you'll see over here is that the Sales Edge Chrome overlay is actually just going to automatically notice that we're looking at Apex Chat. It's going to cross-reference all of the data that's available in Crossbeam and find out and tell me, the salesperson, that two partners already have Apex Chat as a customer. Now, these partners over here would be Surfser and Holver. Now, if I want to go ahead and kick off a conversation to Surfser, because they've already closed this account, to ask them for an introduction or for a recommendation or even just information, in one click, I can go ahead and I can actually kick off that co-selling workflow over here. You'll see that Sales Edge is even going to pre-populate that, so it's quick and easy. And over here, we'll kick off the conversation between the two companies. What's super cool is that this conversation over here doesn't have to be the only one. We actually offer a whole bunch of functionality in the Sales Edge product under what we call Deal Navigator, where if I want to see all of the accounts and all of the overlaps, Deal Navigator will actually automatically look to my personalized book of business, cross-reference it, and allow me to quickly filter and do awesome advanced searches to find other opportunities for me to break into as well. So this is just a little bit of the functionality that's available here. There's a bunch of other stuff in terms of actually enriching the Salesforce widget so that you can action from there, pushing weekly digest emails to the salespeople, and even actioning on this information directly in Slack. This is going to help your sales team crush their quotas.
Thanks so much for showing us, Adam. I think seeing is believing, really helpful for the tour. So you alluded to this earlier, Crossbeam Core. Can you help us understand the relationship with the introduction of Sales Edge? How does this work with Crossbeam? What does that relationship look like?
Great question. So if you think about the Crossbeam that you know and love today, that's what we're rebranding and calling Crossbeam Core. It's the same Crossbeam that you've been using, you built your network on. Nothing's changing on that front. In fact, we're going to be releasing a lot of really awesome features over the coming months that we think are going to continue to improve that platform. With Crossbeam Core, it was really purpose-built for the partnership team and will continue to serve as the area where partnership teams can actually leverage to bolster their role and actually continue to create these partnerships and share data at scale. Crossbeam Sales Edge is a new addition, using that same metaphor that we were basically, or same analogy that we were talking about earlier. If you think about Crossbeam core is the actual network, then Crossbeam Sales Edge is basically a module that sits on top of that network, but it's persona built or specifically built for the salesperson. So when we're creating new functionality and when we're thinking about like how do we solve problems, we're really looking at it from the salesperson's lens. And whereas, in Crossbeam Core, you'd be thinking about things like automated account mapping. For Crossbeam Sales Edge, we're focusing on pushing actionable insights to salespeople in real time in the channels that they care about. Things like co-selling workflows and the ability to message across partners. And one thing that I do want to call out is Crossbeam Sales Edge, because it is built on top of Crossbeam Core, it does require a Crossbeam Core paid contract, which can be either connector tier or Supernode tier. As long as you have one of those, then you can get access to Crossbeam Sales Edge, but at an incremental cost.
Great. Thank you so much, Adam. This was wonderful. Kudos again to you and the entire team and Crossbeam. I mean, there's just been so much over the past 6 months, 8 months to bring this product to life, wrapped around Crossbeam as you just described. So with that, the launch is here and now. It's available. How can folks learn more about getting started with Sales Edge?
So to learn more, just visit the Crossbeam website. There's a lot more to see there.
Thanks so much for being here, Adam. Appreciate the Sales Edge tour.
Thanks so much for having me. Enjoy the rest of the Connector Summit.
Well, there you have it. That wraps our keynote session for our first ever Connector Summit. We covered the definition and 4 levels of tech ecosystem maturity. You got the first look at Sales Edge, Crossbeam's new sales solution. Woo, virtual raise hands. We're very excited about it, and you're going to hear more about it from us very soon as well. You also learned why ecosystem-led sales matters, truly now more than ever before, and how Crossbeam can help. Thank you so much for joining us for this keynote. As you enjoy the rest of the summit, a few reminders for you. We'll have small breaks throughout the day. Feel free to ask questions in the chat during each session. Throughout the day's sessions, we'll share links to relevant resources that pair nicely with the content you'll be watching. All these sessions will be available to you after the event. And surprise, we'll be announcing another special update at the end of the day, so please stick around to hear what it is. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of Connector Summit.